The cowardly rat obviously knows something and is afraid of something. First, she cancelled a New Year's Eve reception in the Kremlin, then a meeting with a homegrown oligarch, and on Friday she did not go to Nizhny Tagil to inspect Uralvagonzavod. And if you can give up on the first event, then the second and third against the backdrop of the ongoing war were incredibly important for Putin. Has he stopped trusting his own oligarchs? Graf and Potanin cannot strangle him. The cancellation of the visit to Uralvagonzavod is completely alarming. This enterprise is considered one of the main ones in Putin's military-industrial complex. The presidential procession has already been delivered to Yekaterinburg, which rehearsed the passage through the streets, and so they turned it around and drove it to Koltsovo Airport to be sent back to Moscow. Earlier, plant employees were banned from moving between workshops during Putin's visit, and a no-fly zone was established over Nizhny Tagil itself from December 22 to 24. And now the visit is cancelled. Such a drastic change in the rat schedule cannot be accidental. If we exclude conspiracy theories, then the only reason can be some new circumstances of the special operation, about which even Putin blabbed, calling it a war. Rumors about the upcoming attack on the Volyn region on December 25 to 26 from Belarus are most likely an information stuffing on the eve of something completely unexpected. But what exactly? After Zelensky's successful visit to Washington, Putin walks around feisty as 1,000 devils. He deployed air defense forces even in the nearest suburbs, and propagandists on federal TV channels are no longer shy about discussing possible New Year's arrivals towards Moscow. At the White House, Biden discussed with Zelensky possible lines under which it would be possible to sit down at the negotiating table in order to end this brutal war. Zelensky left only one option: a complete exit of the occupiers from Ukrainian territories, no intermediate with Dai Ni Rai Li Ni Rai and the captured Crimea, only departure to the borders of 1991. The collective West is to blame, being the guarantor of the implementation of the Budapest Memorandum. It has shown cowardice since 2014, and now the United States has taken on the mission of restoring justice. All imperial claims must be nullified, and the empire itself must receive such a cruel and expensive lesson that it never again takes it into its head to repeat something there. The U.S. Senate has unanimously supported a plan to use some of the confiscated Russian assets to help Ukraine in its war with Russia. The bill will now go to the House of Representatives. Zelensky is preparing a plan to end the war closer to February 24, the anniversary of the invasion. The Kremlin calls this unacceptable in advance, because the realities that cannot be ignored are not taken into account. They mean territories annexed by the Russians. But the HIMARS somehow do not care about the geopolitical wish list of the kid, asked Rogozin, who literally felt it on his own ass. In response to Biden's readiness to meet with Putin on the topic of ending the war, Peskov says that there are no preliminary contacts between the Russian Federation and the United States on the possibility of a meeting between Putin and Biden. This means only one thing: the rat will go to the end as long as it is alive. So, it will have to be eliminated. Perhaps in this plane lies the answer to the question of why she cancelled all public events. After all, factories, gas pipelines and shopping centers ignite suspiciously regularly, and, in the depths of the cave, which is very similar to the actions of some sabotage groups. So why don't they get to the rat carcass and rip off its head? Putin puts pressure on Lukashenko and expects ballistic missiles from Iran, the use of which, in his opinion, can change the course of the war. He also planned to expand the size of his army by about 30%, up to 1.5 million people. Meanwhile, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has already counted more than 100,000 Russians who were buried in Ukraine. And if Putin does not stop this meat grinder, there will be even more victims. And he won't stop until they kill him. He can't back down because he never backs down. That's his signature style. So, in the name of ending the war, it will have to be put in a box. The economy is collapsing at an incredible rate, and in the coming months the West will increase secondary sanctions to squeeze out intermediaries, countries through which Russian companies are trying to circumvent existing restrictions. We are talking about Turkey, the United Arab Emirates, India, and China. The cave is filled with stones, pumping oxygen out of it. And when there is absolutely nothing to breathe in it, the Russians will have to think about the magnificent funeral of their beloved pharaoh. Along with all his servants.